we go.
Boring Reviews!
All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews, Boring Land. Nick here, and I am solo today to bring you my review for Dawn 2. That's right, Dawn 2, The King is Back. This is a 2011 Indian Hindi language action thriller, co-written, co-produced, and directed by the one, the only Farhan Akhtar. Now, if my memory serves me well, this is the guy who is the lead in Bag Milka Bag. He also has directed other films. This is the second in the Dawn series that stars SRK. If you're new to Boring Reviews, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you see today or like what you hear today from my review on Dawn 2. Me and Gabe have reviewed the original Dawn with Amitabh Bachchan. I've reviewed the first Dawn with SRK, so here's completing the trilogy, if you will. I know they're not all connected, but if you will, the trilogy, I'm completing it today. This movie stars SRK, and that's where I'm going to start. I love SRK. I really do. I know Bollywood right now, the whole industry is like under fire, and there's a lot of turmoil, and there's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of all these different things. And I don't know which of these actors are on the crap list and which of these actors are not. But I love watching SRK in movies. This guy, he's got the personality, he's got the charisma, and you need a whole lot of that to play this iteration of Dawn. I want to say that he's probably my favorite part about this movie, by far. And even though he's a scrawnier guy than some of the guys he's acting with, especially the guy who played, what's his name, Jabbar? I know that's from Sholay. What is this character's name? I want to make sure I get it right. It is, Jabbar. Not nearly as big as that guy, right? And Farhan is, he's big, you know what I mean? He's tall and he's kind of a bigger guy, a little huskier guy. So it's hard to see SRK be able to keep up blows with those guys and other characters in the movie. But he pulls it off. I mean, he's still pretty ripped. He's still in pretty good shape. But it's his acting skills. It's his acting skills that you're following a villain. He's not even an anti-hero in my opinion. This guy's a straight-out villain. This guy is out for number one. And when you get to the ending, you know what kind of movie this is. This is a Dawn film. It's about him, okay? And You're following this guy, and you're rooting for this guy. You're absolutely rooting for this guy. In the first Dawn with SRK, they completely turned everything upside down. He was never VJ. He was always Dawn, and he was just trying to get away because what does Dawn do? He always gets away. It's impossible to catch him. Impossible. And so we're following that character that I was not a big fan of in the first one. I love the portrayal. I love the first movie with SRK. Check out my review if you don't believe me. But we follow SRK, and I found myself rooting for him throughout this movie. Now, it might be because he surrounded himself with guys that's easy to hate, like Farhan, with Jabbar, with, is that Samir? Was that the guy who was the corrupt politician? But then, I also got to mention Priyanka Chopra, who she returns in this series, in this role. She returns as Roma. She is now, what do they call her? SEK agent or something like that. She's some government agent, and she is trying to get SRK and Farhan and trying to finally bring him down. She hasn't forgot how Dawn killed her brother. She hasn't forgot that she fell in love with him when she thought he was VJ, and she doesn't want to forgive him for that. So she's got that vendetta. She's got this new guy who wants to be her boyfriend, but she's not interested or whatever. And it took me, maybe I'm just slow, and I say that a lot. It took me a while for me to realize, wow, Roma still has feelings for Dawn. Wow, I did not expect that. I thought she just wanted to go after him, but she still had feelings. They carried on that chemistry from the first movie into the second one. You don't see too many straight-off sequels in Indian films. You don't. At least I haven't. This is the first one where they actually continued everything, and I'm glad they did. This movie was a whole lot of fun. It's all about SRK, but don't forget about Boman Irani. I mentioned this guy in every movie I see him in. This guy knows how to act. This guy knows how to, whatever character you need him to be, he is going to do that 110%, and he has chemistry on the camera, on the screen, negative chemistry, positive chemistry with SRK and other characters. He did a great job. I found that this movie was just like a straight out action film. It reminded me of a James Bond film, but again, you're following Don, who is this criminal, who is this bad guy. You're following him being James Bond. But I'm not going to say it's a James Bond ripoff. It just reminded me of something like that. You have different locations. You have awesome costumes and awesome suits and, like a Mission Impossible film too. It gave me those vibes, especially when he's in that vault trying to get those plates and he's going upside down and he's putting in the code and he's putting in the fingerprints and he can't touch the floor because it's pressure sensitive. It gave me some Mission Impossible vibes, but it still was its own film. There was a lot of action, a whole lot of cool stunts. It starts off right off fresh in the prison. It's like you get that in the trailer where he's in there with Farhan and, first they're going to blows and they decide to team up. And he's got his plan from the very beginning, but we don't know what it is as we're going through. We learn what his plan is. But he's got the dreads, he's got the whole thing, and he has his plan to get out of jail. And that whole thing was awesome. That whole sequence was fantastic. Many sequences like that. The car chase was a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of excitement there. And, of course, the ending whole sequence, like what was it, the last 45 minutes when they're trying to get the plates and they're in that building and they got the hostages and Don gets out, but then he gets betrayed by his man and then he has to go back in and help them out so he can get himself immunity, which is ultimately what he wanted. He wanted to be a free man. And so I love the whole thing. I love the plot. I love the movie. The acting at times was not the best, but this is an action film, right? Very few action films can have amazing acting where you're just like, wow, that was impressive. The acting was good enough. I thought like they closed up all of the plot lines for the most part pretty well. But I gotta say, the one thing they didn't sew up, let me know. Shout at me right now. Tell me what I'm going to say. What did they not sew up too well? That's right, the Roma-Don relationship, the situation. So you got Roma, and I love this whole part. The last 45 minutes was my favorite part of the movie. Because he is trying to get away from the other two bad guys. He's got his plan to go by himself, and he wants to get the plates. He wants to get everything so he can do counterfeit, so he can get all this kind of money. And so he has this whole plan for how he's going to screw them and get off on his own. He's going through that. He escapes the first time, and then he gets captured, gets sold out by his friend. The police come and get him. And, first I thought, like, finally, this whole you can never catch Don. Finally, that thing is over. He's finally been caught. Not so fast. Don is nigh impossible to catch. He is impossible to catch. And so it wasn't that they finally caught him. We find out later on, this was his plan. I need you to turn me in so I can go back in there and finish my plan. I got all these things in place. I got packages sent here. I got plates hidden here. I got a backpack here. I got explosives I got to take care of and install and uninstall. He had all this stuff, and it was really cool the way the director, Akhtar, the way him, the story writers, also Akhtar and some other people, it was really cool how we got to see the story evolve, and then we got things revealed to us. But getting back to Roman and Don. So Roma says, I'm going with you. I want to make sure you don't escape. I want to make sure this job is done. I want to save those hostages, so I'm going with you. We find out, at least I feel like we find out, it's not, you have to infer it, we find out that she still has feelings for him, and I think that's why she wanted to go with him. Maybe deep down to make sure he doesn't get hurt, maybe to have a chance to like smack him around and be like, you jerk, you broke my heart, but I still, whatever. Now she's too proud of a character to say all that kind of stuff, but I feel like that was what she was doing by going with him. And then you see they still have chemistry. They haven't been on the same screen the entire movie. They still have chemistry. These two actors did a fantastic job. And even SRK, like, I know I can't trust Don. I cannot trust that guy whatsoever. He's doing whatever he can for number one. And I guess the ending proved me wrong. But I seriously thought he still had feelings for her. He's asking her about her boyfriend. Is that your boyfriend? Do you like that guy? Blah, blah, blah. She's trying to play it cool. She's worried about him when he gets hurt. He throws himself in front of, what was a bullet for her or whatever it was. I'm like, wow, they really do like each other. And I had no problem with it. I wanted Roma to get him at the beginning of the movie. I was rooting for both of them at the very end to get together. And so the movie goes on. Sacrifices are made. Exchanges are made verbally. And long story short, Farhan makes her shoot Don. And if you don't shoot Don, I'm going to shoot you. Well, for once in forever in any kind of these movies, the villain actually carries out his promise. She won't do it, so they shoot her. Boom. And you assume she's dead because it's just unceremonious. Boom, she's on the floor. Okay, I guess she's dead. It was to the side. I don't know how you die from that, but we think she's dead. Don does his Don stuff. He screws everybody, gets away scot-free, tells the people, oh, by the way, he carries her out. I'm sorry. So that's not really too Don-like. He carries her out, gives them to the officials, gets his papers, his immunity. He says, by the way, she's still alive. She's still alive? She sees him going onto the ambulance, just like at the end of the first one where he tells her about the whole cat line where she realizes he's actually Don and not VJ. We have all this thing. Basically, where we left off in the last one, this is their chance. Is he going to make a different decision to stick with her now he's got his immunity? Or at least in Germany he has immunity, whatever he got it. And that's it. That was never sewn up. Did they get back together? Now, maybe there was some post-credit scene. I didn't see it. I saw a musical number with Priyanka Chopra and SRK. They never get back together? We never figure out what happens? He's with his original girlfriend, and he's like, oh, I'll never be able to get over Roma, but I'm, moving forward. So is it just trying to leave it open? Were they planning for a third film? They must have been, because they didn't sew that up. And I'm like, what? I want to know what happened there. So that was my biggest problem with this film, is how they didn't sew up that story. Obviously, maybe they were leading for a third one. The third one never happened. Let me see if the internet has anything to say on this site real quick about a sequel, because I just couldn't believe it ended that way. A lot of accolades, because this is a great film. Potential sequel. There you go. It says, SRK said it would be great to revisit Dawn after some time. I've told Farhan that we could take 60 days out of our schedule to make a Dawn 3. 60 days. This guy, he's a professional. But we need a script first. One that could last 10 minutes. That can take the last 10 minutes of Dawn 2 forward to another differently exciting thriller. Okay? Never happened. And it's saying right now that, okay, it has been reported that SRK's character Dawn will be replaced by Ranveer Singh. You know I'm a huge Ranveer Singh fan. And the SRK denied the role due to personal reasons. So maybe there might be one, not with SRK the way it's looking. But I don't like how they didn't sew it up properly. I love the action. I love the dialogue. I love the car chasing. I love, for the most part, the acting. I love SRK. I love, I don't want to say his name, but Boman Irani, I believe his name is. I love Priyanka Chopra. I thought all of them did a fantastic job, and I liked the music. The music was fun. Again, it had that kind of, like that James Bond type feel. It had that kind of look. The Mission Impossible, those cool little slick thrillers. This was a sequel that I was thinking was going to be good because the viewers prepared me for it. They said, you got to watch Dawn 2, you got to watch Dawn 2. And Dawn 1, I did not love the first half, but I love the second half. I love the reveal about who Dawn really was. I wasn't sure how you were going to go with that. They were able to go with it. They had this whole group of villains together. Let's get Don out of here because he's running this whole, the Asian market or something like that. We've got to get him out of there so we can take over. And he is going to get his revenge on them. So he does. He screws all of them. He gets them all arrested or all killed. He uses the politician, and then he messes up the politician who was trying to get things done for himself. It was a whole lot of fun. It was very enjoyable. There was a lot of different plot points, a lot of locations and events, but I didn't feel like it was convoluted. I felt like it was easy to understand. It was a lot of fun. I wish they would have sewn up that last story at the end. I loved how Farhan got arrested again, but he was not killed, so we can see what happens if there's ever a third one. I'm really impressed with this movie. I love this movie a whole lot. I'm going to go ahead, and it's tough to grade this movie because I try to grade the movies all with the same lens. I'm the guy that gave Bog He an A-. That might have been an oversight. That was like my 7th film I ever saw from the Indian films. Still a lot of fun. I like this one more than that, but I'm not ready to give it an A. I'm going to give this an A-. I am. I'm going to give this an A-, even though it's much better than Bog He. Bog He was just, guilty pleasure. It was just a lot of fun. This movie is actually a very well-made action film, and I'm really impressed with the director, Farhan Akhtar. I think that this guy, he was amazing in Bog Milk Bog. He obviously behind the camera, he's amazing. I'm pretty sure he directed the first Dawn as well, and he's directed other films. Let's see what he's directed in his career because I'm really impressed in front and behind the camera. Here we go. So he was assistant director on a few films. Then he was director on Dil Chahta Hai. He was director on Lakshya. I've not seen that. He was director on Dawn. There we go. The first one and the second one. And this guy, he's actor. He's producer. He has not directed a film since Dawn 2, it looks like. So I'm curious if he's just so busy doing different things. I would love to see him in a directorial role once again to see what he can do. The question is, what do you guys think of this film? Where does it rank in the 3 Dawn films? I'm going to give you my ranking right now. I feel like at number 3, at the bottom, I've got to give Dawn 1 with SRK. I love that film. But out of these 3, I think it's the weakest because the other 2 are really good. I'm going to put Dawn 2 at number 2 and Amitabh at number 1 because for me, for my taste, for me to get so excited about a film that was made in the 1970s is super hard to do. Especially an action film where the action, it does not last the test of time. Amitabh Bachchan did his thing. That one's number 1. This one's number 2 of the 3. A lot of fun. Let me know what's your ranking. Let me know what you think of this film. Let me know what you love, what you did not like. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for checking out my review. I spoke really, really fast for you today. But until next time, adios.